Hey guys, Steven here, Fanatic Perspective. Got the usual gang on here at this point. Everybody that y'all have had so much fun coming to know and love on the channel. My esteemed guest, Mr. Nino's Corner, as well as Chris and Seth from the Horns Down podcast. So getting ready to chop it up about their new head football coach over at University of Oklahoma, some NIL developments, and just overall, just the landscape of college football, all the crazy that's going on. Before I get to immediate reactions, I want to give a quick shout out to busr.com/Fanatic, the official sponsor, official sportsbook, official betting partner of Fanatic Perspective. If you guys go on there right now, two promos. So one is the Sports 100 FP promo, where 100% free play match. And if you bet in the first 24 hours of making your deposit at least $100, they will match $100 with your bet. So you'll get another additional $100 for free play, but it has to be within the first 24 hours of signing up on busr.com/Fanatic. Christmas promo coming. New flows coming. Be patient, brother. Anyway, Chris, Seth, I see the disrespect because Chris was over there texting while I'm doing all my stuff, but that's all right, man. Congratulations.
Still out. Look, bro, you come on to this show, okay? You come on to this show, hat backwards, chain on. Look at the jacket that you got on, swag daddy. It's a Tuesday night. Where you going? Like, what you doing, bro?
Yo, we really out here, bro. We really out here, bro.
I know what he did. He came onto this show because he was like, you know what? We ain't had nothing really happen besides these bum ass NIL deals. We ain't got no news. No recruits want to come to us. Oh, we did get Kobe McKenzie, but I think he probably gonna flip to OU again. I don't know what's gonna happen, man. So you came to listen to us talk. I know that's what you did. All right, that's what you came to do. All right, so you just chill back, relax, do whatever you got to do, and let grown people talk. All right, because we about to talk real football.
Are you finished or are you done, bro?
I'm done.
Seth, are you excited about Brent Venables?
Oh, I really can't even remember when I was more excited about OU football than I have been the last couple of days. Well, if that lets you know how I'm feeling about Brent Venables, like, and if you recall, I don't want to go on too long about this, but if you recall, last time we spoke, I gave a top 5, and Brent Venables wasn't in my top 5, but the only reason was because I thought, like a lot of people, that he was just never going to take a head coaching job because he's been a coordinator for 20-some years, and he's had every offer in the book just about. So I figured he wasn't going to take it. So I mean, he was up there. He was up there on my like wish list, but like my list that I gave was a realistic list, in my opinion.
Dave Durham was realistic, Seth.
Dave Durham, I still think if he would have picked OU, or if OU would have called out to him and he would have answered, I still would have been pretty excited for that. But I guess we'll never get to see that. But no, I'm still on record. I'm a Dave Doran fan.
Dave Doran.
I see you writing something down.
Just taking some notes. I want to make sure I'm on point today. I feel like this is a big point in college football. You guys have a new coach. We got groundbreaking deals going on. We got word out on the street. We back up. So I'm just saying I got to be on point today. So I just wanted to make sure I don't miss anything or misquote you, like you feel like you were on Twitter, and make sure that we got exactly what you got down. So proceed, brother. Hey, I want to go over to Nino real quick. Shout out to Nino's Corner. He's done double duty tonight on top of his own channel. He was on with Around the Table Sports earlier with their live. I got to go check that out. And Nino's over here been pushing out videos about NIL, pushing out videos about with his recruits and all the things he's doing for the high school students. Appreciate the Lord's work you're doing out there, Nino. But like you said, this is adults' time now. So I need your unfiltered opinion about this hire from Nino's Corner.
So I was just talking to Chris with a K about this on ATS Sports. I gave it a B+, man. I gave it a B+. And I only gave it a B+ because I was telling Chris this. Chris tried to, chop my head off with this, but I gave it a B plus because even though Venables has been a hell of a defensive coordinator for a while, 26 years or so, he's never been the CEO of a company yet. And it's a lot different when you are, always put stuff into like the military terms, right? So I've been in the military now for 16 years. And when I first had like my own unit, I had like 25 people, right? And I was like, hey, I thought I was doing something. I had like an offense, right? And now I'm in a whole different area now where I got like 75 people under me. And it's a whole different arena. It's so much stuff you gotta like, juggle. I just can't juggle engineering. Now I gotta juggle engineering, contracting, and quality all at once. And that's what BV is gonna have to do once he goes to OU. So I gave it a B plus. I thought it was a good hire just for the simple fact that hey, he knows defense. Defense is his calling card. But as a whole right now, OU fans gave Texas a lot of shit for hiring an offensive coordinator and said it was a B plus hire because he's an offensive coordinator. He didn't do too well as a head coach, even though he took a winless team to 8 wins in 4 years. But they want to say, hey, you got an offensive coordinator. He's not a head coach. That's a B plus hire. And then I want that same energy when I hear about BV getting hired and he's never been a head coach. I want that same energy. Come on, Seth, give me that same energy, baby.
Nah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if Steven has a way that he wants to organize this chat, but I could definitely clap back on that right now.
Before you clap back,
educate him,
please. Educate him. Dog is still in the portal.
Educate him.
Wait, what's that about the portal?
No, people want to know if Chris's dog is still in the portal.
Look, I can damn sure tell you that my dog ain't in the portal. That's a boomer dog right there. He ain't flipping nowhere. He already said he committed. He already know what's about to happen. National championship. So let me go ahead and take this one right here real quick. Okay, so just like I said over there on Around the Table Sports, shout out to my guy Ty Hayes. First off, Nick, your coach was an assistant for Nick Saban. My coach beat Nick Saban. Okay.
No,
he
didn't. No, he didn't. He did not beat Nick Saban. He did not beat Nick Saban. Quit it.
Brand of football. This was a home run hit. This was a
Deshaun Watson
right here.
Deshaun Watson and Sunshine beat Nick Saban.
Okay. Why did I say this was a grand slam hire right here? Okay.
Oh, you went from home run to grand slam.
It makes sense across the board from sentimental value to just the
so he's Nick Saban
that we're about to get. What?
He's Nick Saban, Chris.
You saying I'm not even gonna go there with you guys, okay? I'm not gonna.
You just said he hit. You just said grand. You went from home.
It's a grand slam hire for OU. You gotta understand. It's like if Vince Young was actually able to come back and coach your program and do something with it. A former player or a former coach. You guys don't have that. You guys go after the hottest girl in the club, and you end up getting her. And guess what? You found out her personality isn't that great. She still messes around with everybody else. And guess what? At the end of the day, she sucks. All right. So, anyways, I digress. But this was
so rich, you go get another one.
This was a home run hire for OU simply because the sentimental value and what he's about to do for this program. I'm telling you, the physical football is back. That defense is going to be tremendous. Even next year, you could talk about, we've had decommitments and we've had people transfer. We haven't had anybody transfer off the defense yet. So you're looking at a Woody Washington. You're looking at a Clayton Smith. You're looking at Latrell McCutcheon, Billy Bowman, Asamoah, Agwebu, Reggie Grimes, Danny Stutzman, Ethan Downs. I can keep going if you want me to. You're looking at guys and you're saying, Venables doesn't have to go win a recruiting battle like you guys have to right now. Because the thing is that, look, we didn't finish the season strong, but going 10-2, that means that this is still a really good football team. He has to build within. The only recruiting battle, the biggest recruiting battle that he has to win is right here in Norman right now. He has to keep Caleb. That is a must. But when you look at what Venables is going to be able to do, he sent a message. I know people will poke fun. I know all these Texas fans will be in the comments talking about, oh, well, you guys fired your whole defensive staff. But if you look at what he did, that was a message saying that I'm going to get my guys in here and we are going to turn this thing around for real. Speedy ran his course. The GT counter, the GT pool, whatever you want to call it, and Raleigh system, it ran its course. It's done. It's at USC, at that dead program. Baby, we are going to win a national championship in the next few years. I don't care if we're in the SEC or not. And I will say that last point right there. The reason why this is a Grand Slam hire is because we're thinking bigger than what Texas and what other teams are thinking. We're thinking, hey, Big 12 is fine. That's great. But we need to set ourselves up to be realistic and be instant winners in the SEC as soon as we get there. I don't just want to compete. Competing is for teams like Texas who are trying to compete with the bottom feeders, such as Vanderbilt and a Mississippi
We're not
State.
talking about Texas, Chris. We're talking about Oklahoma City.
But I was getting to that. But when
Stay
you
on the
look at
topic,
OU is setting themselves up mighty nicely for the SEC transition. Now, Seth, can you second that, please?
Yeah, I mean, as far as the move to SEC, Venables isn't running away from it. He's already bringing it up on his own as far as what his goals are for this team, for this program, to set them up to be able to compete in that league and with the defensive style that he wants to implement here. So yeah, like it's looking like with all parties involved, that was one of the kind of checks on the list that they wanted that they were going after with this hire, because they're looking ahead. So as far as that goes, I don't know if I want to say that he's going to win a national championship in the next few years, but I think they're definitely going to be in. I see you, Steve. I'm not going to go on record just yet, because I think I need to see, first of all, the staff that he puts together, and different guys that he retains over this year, and what the recruiting class looks like. But in a year, I'll be able to say what one way or the other. I'll have a much better opinion on that. But I mean, the potential, though, I think is the potential, not just competing for a top 4 spot, but actually getting there and winning it, as opposed to under Lincoln Riley, where they get there and were rarely competitive. So I think, and if you would ask me, this is an upgrade. I know it sounds crazy to a lot of people outside of Norman, but Brent Venables is an upgrade from Lincoln Riley. I know that doesn't compute, because this dude has never been a head coach, and yeah, he's a very proven coordinator, like Lincoln Riley was before he became head coach. But there's just something about this dude, Brent Venables, and then the overwhelming support that he has from not just his own past players, current players, the administration, the fans, but it has a feeling, and it's like something that is immeasurable. But obviously the results are going to have to speak for themselves when we get that chance. But I would say it's a home run. I won't say grand slam, but I will say it's a home run. I'll make a distinction.
I would like to weigh in here, because I've held back long enough.
Go ahead, turn the hat.
Come on,
forward,
Steven.
Come on,
Steven. Keep the hat back for Steven.
Turn the hat forward.
Before I heard you guys talk, this was my opinion, right? So Nino went with a B+. I'm just gonna go a solid B. I think this was a B higher. I would give it a grade of a B. Here's why. From a pro standpoint, I love the energy that he brings. I love the familiarity that he already has with Norman. He's won in Norman as a coordinator. I love the fact that Brent Venables comes from winning cultures. You really think about it he talked about loyalty in his presser. He hit that word a lot, and he talked about, really only 2 places he's really developed a lot of his coaching career is Norman and Clemson, right? And so both of those places, he's been successful. Everything he's done as a football coach up until this point, he's had success. He's won. I love the temperament of the coach from a standpoint of where you guys are currently at. You guys brought up the SEC. Brent Venables has had success against SEC teams. Now, it remains to be seen how you do with the SEC slate. That's a totally different conversation from prepping for one game when you've got 4 weeks to get ready. That's totally different circumstances. But again, he's had success, defensive minded. I think from all the OU people I talked to, not just you guys, but a lot of people wanted a defensive minded guy. So those are prompts or pros for me, and just the old family oriented aspect that he has. The cons. How can you guys sit up here and say that it's a grand slam home run hire when this guy is on record as saying, and Seth said it earlier, which is the first note I took, that he did not want to be a head coach. And I understand that people's aspirations change, and the call from Norman came and it changed his spirit and all of those things. But I never heard anybody clamoring for Brent Venables from y'all's neck of the woods until recently.
I mean, I really think the truth is this was the only job he would have taken for a head coach. But since he took over at Clemson, there was never a window for him to get offered because, 4 or 5 years after he left for Clemson, Lincoln Riley was brought on as a coordinator. And then we saw how that transition went in 2017 from Bob Stoops to Riley. So there was never, that phone call was never made. There was never a coaching search made, a head coaching search. So he was turning down jobs because those weren't, clearly they just weren't what he was looking for as far as a head coaching job. I really think this was the job for him. This was his dream place. This is where he got his just big start and all his success. I believe all 4 of his children were born in Norman while he was here. So, he and his family have a lot going on, a lot of memories, a lot of ties to this place. He said it himself, and I watched all his press conferences this week, introductory and stuff. And he did say that while he was at Kansas State, and that's where he got his very first start, like first as a player, and then under Bill Snyder, and then as a graduate assistant, it was like a year. I think it was a year after Bob Stoops already joined or already became the head coach at OU, that he had Venables had a conversation with Bill Snyder, telling him like, hey, like if Bob is putting together a staff, and I kind of want to be a part of that because he recognized in Bob that that dude's a winner. That dude's going to do some big things at OU, and he wanted to progress his own coaching resume and career following that guy. Like he had kind of, I guess, he had felt like he had learned a lot at Kansas State under Bill Snyder and was doing it, but he wanted to take that next step. And for him, that next big step was to join Bob at OU. And then I guess, those 10, 12 years of being in Norman, he built a connection to this place where he's not Oklahoma born, but he is definitely Sooner bred.
And I get the connection. The connection's also there, like you said, with Coach Stoops, right? And like Bob Stoops is a pro for me here. The connection to Bob Stoops, like that's dope, right? But the guy's still on record of saying, I don't want to be a head coach. And you guys have both said that on this channel multiple times. So that is something that is a con for me until he has success and we see it play out. That's a con for me personally. That's a con.
Look.
Another con for me is I question his temperament during games. Like that energy he brings is dope for a strength and conditioning coach. And y'all talk about like, hey,
Steven, you're the same guy. No, Steven, I got to stop you there. I got to stop you there. You're the same guy, and Nick is too. You're the same guy who was all over that Bo Davis bull crap. Get out of here.
As a position coach. As a position coach.
Not a head coach.
As a position coach.
Chris.
As a position coach.
Come on, man.
Chris, he's a position coach.
Got y'all hype because y'all was all over.
No,
Chris.
Steven, I got this, Steven, I got this. I got this.
Don't do not give me that bull crap, Steven. You know that's bull crap.
No,
that's
Chris.
Bull crap, bro.
Chris,
yes.
as a position coach, I can tell that y'all haven't led a huge group of people at one time, because this guy has. I've done it in Afghanistan and Iraq. I've done it everywhere. I do it now. Let me tell you something. When you're at the top, you can't be Bo Davis, because guess what? That's going to permeate down through your whole organization. You need a bad cop. That's what he is. That's what Texas fans like. The culture needs to change. Yes, Bo Davis did that. You'll never see Nick Saban do that in front of everybody. You'll never see it. Okay. You'll never see Lincoln do it. He didn't do it. He won a lot of games for y'all. Dabo Swinney doesn't do it.
Lincoln should have. There was no accountability.
Dabo Swinney doesn't do it. He has BV to do that for him as position coach. That is not what your CEO does.
So
your
CEO
doesn't do that. Your CEO doesn't do that.
Those ESPN specials and keeping your goggles on when the blinders on.
Chris, you're the one with the goggles on, brother. And you're drinking 3 batches of Kool-Aid. Chris,
man, that's crazy, bro. That's
Chris, we're talking about.
This is the problem with y'all. You don't want to hear any objectivity. If you want to stay in your bubble in Norman, Oklahoma, and only hear the good and want us to wave pom-poms, that's fine. I just said a lot of positive things that I like about this hire. But I have some concerns. And I would say the same exact thing if we hired a guy like this at Texas. And don't sit up here and act like I don't say I'm not objective about my team with certain things. I don't put up all the pom-poms.
That Bo Davis speech should have came from your coach. That Bo Davis speech should have came from your head coach.
You bringing up Bo Davis is irrelevant, sir.
He's the position coach. You're actually making Steven's point.
It's not irrelevant. You know why it's not irrelevant? Because you guys went 5-7. You couldn't hold up the bargain. Y'all can laugh, y'all can talk and everything. We didn't lose to Kansas. We didn't lose 6 games in a row.
Chris,
it means nothing to Texas. Now you have to get
that is not the point. You're not making sense, my friend.
And do $50,000 deals for the School of the Blind with your freaking.
All right, now you're just ranting like
hey,
it's
you know what?
Are you going to allow me to finish my point? I don't want to mute you, but I would like to finish my point uninterrupted.
Go ahead, finish your point.
You are a lawyer. I mean, you
on,
should understand how this process.
Hey, Chris, if Oklahoma's so mad about Texas giving out $50,000 bags, so why don't y'all do it? Go do it. You guys got the money. Do it.
We're getting recruits. Benebo is getting recruits. You guys are not. When's the last time you had an offensive line?
You guys just lost 2 recruits. You guys just lost 2 recruits in one day. You guys lost a defensive end to Texas A&M.
You're putting $1 million. Look, you're trying to pay Quinn Ewers $3 million to come to Texas to do
Chris,
what?
These are points we're going to get to later in the show. Trust me,
I know you ain't talking
to talk about Texas.
Chris, hold on, Steven. I got this one. Chris, I know you ain't talking about NIL because you was the same person that texted me talking about Caleb can't leave because of some damn meat deal that he has in Norman. That's the biggest NIL deal. So don't talk about me some NIL. You texting me talking about Caleb Williams and some damn Schwann's meat deal. Come on, man. Get them damn meats out of here, man. Nobody wants to talk about them little meats.
Schwab meats, baby. Shout to Schwab meats.
Seth,
go ahead, Steve, finish your point. I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry. I know this is your show. This is your
Chris
show.
over here texting me about some meat deal that Caleb Williams got. Man, get out of here. You want to talk about NIL? Caleb can't leave because he got this meat deal in Norman. Nobody give a shit about that.
Bro, I got to my second con and you snapped. Okay. So these are fair points. Okay. All I'm saying is I have concerns about his temperament. Listen to me, Chris. You bring up Bo Davis is not in charge of timeouts. Okay. Bo Davis is not in charge of clock game or any type of strategic management in terms of dealing even with the officials. Okay. Brent Venables is now. That's the head coach. He's not even a coordinator anymore. He's not going to have the play. I believe he said today he's going to be hiring his own. He's going to be hiring his own defensive coordinator. I'm sure he'll have his fingerprints all over the defense.
Yes.
But when you're the head guy, and this is the same conversation we've had with Sark as a play caller, you can't get too much into you can't get lost in your play sheet because you still got to play clock game and all of the things that go into your responsibilities as the head coach. And when I hear that he needs a guy to hold him back on the sideline, those emotions, things could potentially get out of control. And all I'm saying is that's a concern. I love the energy he brings. I have no question the team will get fired up and all that because that's his energy. But I've seen coaches in the past with this same temperament become head guys, and teams have issues with that. All I'm saying, it's a concern. Also, this is his first time being a head coach. So until we see him do this as a head coach, all of these things will remain outstanding until we see it play out. Okay? So don't compare him to another position coach. If you want to compare him to another head coach. That's what I'm saying.
I'm just saying with the energy and all the rest of it, I'm saying like, hey, if Sark, I still feel like if Sark had that temperament, it would light a fire. I mean, your leader is always going to be able to light a fire. Leader's going to keep the followers going, right? So I mean, the leader, as a leader of this program and everything, people are going to adopt that attitude. You want that defense to be fired up. You want it to mean something. Look at
you want that defense.
I'm being totally transparent right now. I'll be totally transparent with you, and Seth can back me up on this. Our cornerbacks, our DB, our secondary has been totally inconsistent for years. Even with the speed D, when key guys were out, we've been totally inconsistent, and it feels like nobody was accountable. You heard coaches saying it's on them. You heard coaches saying this players got to take practice more seriously, all the rest of that. You want a guy like Venables to come in there, somebody who's going to take this seriously, is going to hold people accountable, is going to be a rah-rah guy. You want somebody like Venables who's crazy enough, even as a coach, to put on a jersey, put on pads, and go out there and run plays as the scout team quarterback. You want somebody like that who's going to ignite a fire. We haven't had that fire. No, I'll say this. We've had fire, but we haven't had that passion, that love for football in a while. And I feel like you're going to be able to get back to that because you're going to be able to get back to Oklahoma football. That's all I'm saying. I get it. I acknowledge your concern. Do I disagree? Heavy on the disagree. But at the same time, that's a notable concern, but I don't think that's a problem. Gary Patterson is extremely animated on the sideline. Hell, in the Big 12 championship game when Iowa State was there, Matt Campbell should have had somebody who was telling a get-back coach. He was highly
Matt Campbell felt like he was being cheated in that moment, and that was uncharacteristic for him.
He still had other meltdowns before.
He's
That boy is all over the
sideline.
sideline. We must not be watching the same game. But I'm just
saying.
Matt
Campbell does that all the time.
Look, man. Look.
I've definitely seen it in at least 2 other games, like non-OU games.
So you're saying Matt Campbell and Brent Venables have that same type?
No, not at all.
No, not at all. I'm just saying that there's been other coaches who've done the same thing. You act like these coaches are not getting into these players' asses like that. Nick Saban has definitely gotten.
Nick Saban will turn up. Listen.
It's about balance. That's all it is when it comes to being the CEO. It's about balance. You can't be the guy who you don't think you can whoop their ass every day. That's not balance because at the end of the day, that coach is gonna turn some of their players off. It is what it is. It's all about balance. Being a good leader is knowing how to push each one of your guys' buttons at one time. You can't be the same guy 24/7, Mr. Rah-Rah 24/7, because guess what? Caleb might not get energized that way. That might not be the way he gets energized. I don't need you to light a fire in my ass. Look, I got it on my own. Kelly might need it, but Caleb doesn't. So it's all about balance. And that's when it comes from your head coach having the guy who is the CEO with the balance. That's when you can have your position coaches, a la the Bo Davis, coming in and light that ass up. You know what I'm saying? Because guess what? He is not heading up the complete defense. He's heading up the defensive line. He can be the bad cop. And guess what? That's when Jeff Chode or PK or Sark, they can smooth things over as the CEO. That's the totality of leadership, is being the guy who can manage multiple attitudes at one time and letting some people in the lower supervisor levels be the ones who are the bad cops. You can't be the bad cop as a CEO. You just can't. It is what it is.
See, that's the thing, though. Seth said soft about Lincoln Riley. That's what he called Lincoln. Okay. That's not the first time that people have called him soft since his hire. I know everybody thinks that we're just crapping on Lincoln because
was Lincoln Riley successful as a head coach? Yes or no?
Can I finish my point?
As long as you answer my question.
My point was that earlier in this season, you had plenty of people, OU fans, that were calling Lincoln out on the radio, all over the message boards, everything, saying that he was a soft coach. People were saying, yeah, he's the wonder boy, he's the wonder kid. He came in here with this great offense, high octane, all the rest of this stuff. But it seems like there's just no accountability. We acknowledge the losses that we took to LSU and Alabama. We also acknowledge the fact that we probably had a national championship right in the palm of our hands that we let slip away because of lackadaisical effort on the defensive end. You look at against Georgia. You guys don't remember that game. We played in games, so you guys have never played in it before. But when you look at Oklahoma, you're just saying that. And I know I see people over here talking stuff. I don't know who this Marlon Tully dude is. He looks like he's bigger than the Tully dude off of Game of Thrones. But when you sit here and want to talk about, we're getting back to
Marlon, he's shooting shots.
We're getting back to OU football.
Seth, get your voice, Seth.
We're getting back to that gritty, grimy OU football and the defense. I really do truly feel that the defense is about to take a turn. We've had a pulse for years, but we've never been able to act on it. And it's just hard to sit here and say, yeah, Lincoln was hella successful, but like, I'll just be real. I'll say it, man. When you lose games like we did in the national when the national championship is on the line, a national championship is on the line. Can't do that, man. That's not it. Can't have a hell of a season and then have a 10-cent finish, man.
Nino, jump in.
All right, I keep hearing about. Okay, I'm going to give BV his props when it comes to the defense side of the ball. He is very good as a defensive coordinator in the ACC. And Chris, I already talked about this with you on the previous podcast. Now, we want to talk about the two championships that were won, against Alabama. And no, I'm not putting that as BV. He didn't beat Saban. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of these numbers. Since you guys were jotting down notes, I started to jot down a few notes myself. Okay. So let's look at the first championship that BV played against Alabama. And he allowed 597 yards in 2017. He had a month to prepare. 597 yards. Okay. The next game against Alabama in 2019, Chris, you want to guess how many yards that BV's awesome defense allowed?
Go ahead, Nick. Go ahead.
591. Okay, let's go. The next game in 2020, let's see. Chris, do you really want to know how many yards BV allowed in 2020 against LSU?
Go ahead.
793 yards. This is a man that had a month, over 4 weeks to prepare for a team. And the combined total of that is about 650 yards each game. And it's not BV's defense that was beating Alabama. What was beating Alabama was Sunshine that's playing over there in Jacksonville right now. And also Deshaun Watson, who is that guy. Those are the guys who beat Alabama. It came down to the last second. Deshaun Watson did his thing. Sunshine did his thing. You got to give Sunshine his props. But when you're a hell of a defensive coordinator, and the same thing that you guys complain about Alex Grinch, about bend and not break, 650 yards of average offense against Clemson in these championship games. I don't know how much bending and how much breaking that is, but that's a lot of damn yards. So, Chris, I told you this before. In the ACC is a cakewalk. We all know it's a cakewalk. Clemson is the big dog over there. When you're going against NC State, when you're going against Syracuse, when you're going against North Carolina,
mighty Dave Durn,
when you're going against Florida State, when you're going against a down Miami, when you're going against the only SEC team that you play every year, sorry ass South Carolina. Okay. When you're going against those teams on the regular, yeah, your defense is going to look good. It should. You get all the talent over there in the ACC. You're the only team with the talent over there in the ACC. You should be dominating. You should be dominating and doing what you're supposed to do against Syracuse, Miami, Florida State, North Carolina State. But when they got to the big game, yes, Trevor Lawrence won a game for him. That wasn't the defense. Deshaun Watson won a game for him. When you give up 700 yards, when you give up 793 yards in 2020 against Joe Burrow on team, I don't want to hear nothing about how good your damn defense is. I don't want to hear about it. You cakewalk through the ACC against Pitt, Syracuse. Come on, man. Wake Forest. Come on, man. You cakewalk through the ACC. And once you got to the big game, which, hey, great players get you to the big game. Great players win the games for you. It ain't about the X and O's, about the Jimmys and Joes. We all know that, right? Great players win games for you. When you got to the big game and got that ass waxed, or when you did win, your defense still gave up 650 yards. That's not the defense winning the games, y'all. I'm just going to keep it real with you.
So I'm going to pass this to you after I say this. So, he didn't also. You talking about only SEC team? He didn't beat the best team in Texas right now, Texas A&M. He didn't beat those teams either.
Texas A&M.
Oh, yeah, come on, man.
No, he did.
They're the best team in Texas, right? Yeah,
he did.
Texas. Whatever. Go ahead.
I'm just saying, you want to be facts?
No, I mean,
get all the facts. Get all the facts. You want to be facts?
No, but hey, Chris, that was game. Hold on, Chris. That was game 1 or game 2 at the start of the season, right? And so you had all off season to prepare for this team.
I think Kellen Mond threw for 400 something on one.
You had all off season to prepare for this team, right? That's the first game of the season. Even if it was the second game of the season, they played Mountain West, Northern, Northern South Dakota for the first game. So you walked through that one, and then you had all off seasons to still prepare for your one tough game at the top of the season. You cakewalk through the ACC. You go to the damn game, and either Trevor Lawrence does this thing while your defense still gave up 650 yards, or you lost the game giving up 790 yards to total offense. I'm just saying, call it what it is. But hey, he has a lot of fire, and he spits a lot of that hot shit, and he cusses his players out. You guys can have it.
I would like to know this. Just for maybe both Steven and Nick here. Who in active in the country right now would you say is definitively a better track record for coordinating defense than Brent Venables? Like, and not just taking one single season, like, a totality of their career versus his career. That's still, either still coordinating or just became a head coach.
Well, you can't say that, Seth, because Venables has been in this position for 26 years. Most people leave and will get a head coaching job. So, I mean, it's easy to say that you're the best at that when you just been there forever.
But I just heard a bunch of samples of all these failures. So it sounds like he's a scrub. It sounds like that's not.
I didn't say it was a scrub. I didn't say it was a scrub. I'm just saying y'all might be.
You guys are talking as if
y'all might be overcooking the grits. That's all I'm saying. You might be overcooking the grits.
Acting like there's no flags. I have no concerns.
Voicing their pointless opinions about places they've never been. They want to always point out somebody else's downfall, but don't even want to look at their program and be transparent, fully transparent.
Chris, I think you're wrong with that.
Me want to talk about other people's programs.
Chris, me and Steven are the most transparent Texas fans ever.
This is embarrassing.
Me and Steven are the most transparent
you've ever been.
I think we won a championship before y'all did. I mean, I think we're the last. So it is what it is. No, but you're talking about where we never been.
Are we gonna talk about championships 20 years ago? No,
I'm just saying, no. I mean, hey, Chris, when's the last time y'all won a championship? When's the last time
you guys are further removed from the national championship?
You got people in your comments talking about they act like Lincoln Riley didn't get them 6 Big 12 titles. That's a championship.
No, Surfer Boy is here. Hold on, time out. Surfer Boy, I'm so glad you made it to the chat after what happened to your Georgia Bulldogs and all the nonsense you were talking, man. I'm glad you're okay and with us. I was very, very concerned for your well-being. Congratulations on still making it to the playoffs. But I know, you told me that, your boy Stetson Bennett, the fourth, was going to light up Bama. And I told you that was not going to be the case. And we saw how that played out last week. So,
oh my God.
Again, congrats on making it to the playoffs, brother. Good luck. I'm glad you're here. I had sent out that APB and Marlon had told me that you were put in witness protection. So, at least we have proof of life.
That's something I agree with you on. I actually agree with you on that. Stetson Bennett is pedestrian. That boy's curbside pickup from Dairy Queen. I don't even know if that's a real thing.
Dairy Queen, come on, man. He's from like White Castle or something. Checkers.
White Castle, don't disrespect.
He like Checkers, man. He like at rallies.
Curbside pickup from Subway, and they make their sandwiches right there in front of you. You know what I'm saying? Like that.
Oh, Jersey Mike says.
Look at this guy here. Highlight this comment right here by Chris Hernandez. He says,
Chris Hernandez.
how
many times are you going to bring up Texas as a retort?
Look at him. Look, Chris Hernandez about to make your monkey ass famous. Look at this. But let me tell you something. Texas, look, I can bring up Texas because you Texas fans are talking all this noise after a 5-7 season. I've had to sit in between OSU and Texas fans. Steven and Nick have been probably the I would say the best part of you guys because they've been realistic about it. Because yeah, they're gonna take their hits and they're gonna, say, hey, yeah, this was a good hire, not as fantastic as you may believe. I get it, that's great. We said the same thing about Sarkisian. But the difference is that our team is coming off a winning season. Your team was still coming off of y'all had a winning season, but it was still a piss poor season with Sam Ehlinger. And I guess that's a question I got for you, Steven, with Texas, because we talked about OU. Let's talk about Texas now. Did Sam Ehlinger hurt you, or did he help bridge that gap the year before he left? Because I feel like he hurt your team.
Why do you feel like he hurt our team? Make it make
sense.
I
feel like he hurt your team because, being the elder statesman that he was, Sam Ehlinger was what Sam Ehlinger was. We could talk about the Heisman talk, all the hype and everything. He did get better throughout his career, but I still feel like you guys could have put Casey Thompson, hell, maybe even Hudson Card, and still went on and had the same season that you had with that team that you did have on that year. I don't really feel like he did anything for you guys.
I doubt. No. Tom Herman, if you ever watched any of the play calling that was done at Texas, I'm pretty sure that that you have Tom Herman's play calling was not the best. A lot of that was Bam Bam Sam doing stuff just off the cuff. Yeah, he was definitely a bridge for us to get to our hopefully our next quarterback, but yeah, a lot of that was Sam doing his thing, and I think Tom Herman held that team back a lot. You see that he didn't call the right plays. I think everybody in Texas was screaming for Bijan to get the ball a lot last year. He didn't play him basically until the last 3 or 4 games of the season. So yeah, that was Tom Herman not calling the right plays, and that was Sam bailing him out the whole time. Tom Herman was a below average coach. They had a quarterback who bailed his ass out for 3 out of those 4 years, and yeah, now that he's gone and we don't have a guy who can bail out and have some confidence. One thing people can say about Sam is he didn't have all the arm talent, but what Sam was, he was a tough ass dude. He's tough as nails. He bled for the program, and he just knew when it was time to make a play. He just went out there and did it. If that play was there to be made. And it was what it was. We didn't have the greatest talent, and for us to even go 7-3 last year with that talent that we had in the roster, I thought it was quite amazing, to be straight up honest with you, especially with the offensive line.
I agree with this comment right here, man. And I'm not just going to say Sam was holding the program up, but it's very obvious. We've talked about this ad nauseum. We've talked about this, in our group chats, the 4 of us, the culture problems that Texas had and the lack of leadership and all of that. And Sam was a big leader. Sam Cosmi was a big leader. Osai was a big leader. These are guys that were, probably undervalued what they were bringing in terms of just everything behind the scenes and holding things together, not just, all the Tom Herman stuff. And so losing that, and you're in the midst of a quarterback battle, it's very hard. I mean, Casey Thompson, I'm not, no shade at him or anything, but it's hard to be a leader when you don't win the quarterback job at the beginning of the season. So, and then you have other people on the team who want to be leaders, but they're not performing well. And so when some of these things start to happen, things amidst the coaching change, amidst, everything that goes down and the way you're losing football games. Texas comes out, they're explosive in all these football games, and they're giving them up. It's almost a psychological issue. So Sam Ehlinger was holding this thing together, in my opinion. Was he the best quarterback and the most, and again, it was aesthetically pleasing as everybody would like to see? I say this all the time. If we play it out like it's What If or Doctor Strange or anything in the Marvel universe, Seth, I know you're going to love this analogy, but if there's better timelines of Sam Ehlinger's career at Texas, and we got one of the crappier ones for him, because all he left here was, attaboys and numbers. He put up numbers, over 11, 12,000 total yards, all the touchdowns, everything. Unfortunately, he didn't leave here with wins, because that's the way this nature of the program was at the time.
I want to switch gears up, because I do want to keep talking about the subject at hand here with Brent Venables at OU. But I got a question. I would like to know everybody's make a prediction right now. I know it's early. There's the staff hasn't been completed. Hell, we don't even know what the schedule will look like or when that SEC move will take place. But what's everyone's, just call it out right now, the ceiling for OU under Brent Venables? Like what's the where's the highest stage he can take them? Because I'm gonna go on record right now and say that within 2 seasons he'll have OU back in the playoffs. Within 2, whether it's next season or the season after, regardless of if the move to the SEC takes place, within those 2 years. I think he's going to get OU back to that level within 2 seasons. But and as far as whether winning it or whatever, or how much he wins there, but that remains to be seen. But that's my early, way too early ceiling prediction for OU under Brent Venables.
You see, Nino, this right here, I understand where Seth is coming from, because this right here is where a lot of Texas fans were last year. Mm-hmm. And OU fans are not used to this. They're not used to this. Is that honeymoon when you hire somebody. And I've seen this before, because Chris likes to make relationship analogies. So I'm gonna come off of Chris's playbook. And I don't know, I can't relate, because nobody's ever broken up with me. I've only broken up with other people.
Go, Steve.
However, nobody's ever broken up with me.
Chain
I've
on.
only broken up with other people. So I get it, bro. It hurts. Y'all are still emotional. I can see through all of this. It hurts. She left. She's gone.
You're right. She did.
To LA.
She wasn't a good one.
She's on IG. She's getting off the private jet.
And she's still wearing the shoes.
They rolling out the red carpet for her. She's gone, brother.
She left the Cowboys for a CEO.
Y'all went back to your high school boo. Right? Y'all went back to old girl back in high school, old reliable. She'll never leave me.
Your prom date.
Y'all went to a safe place. And I respect it. Because, again, looking from the outside, as I look at movies and whatnot, I know that's what people do when they're hurt. They go back to the things they're familiar with. And this is where I was too, in terms of hiring a new coach. A lot of people are always like this. Until you see the flaws or anything they do, nothing can piss you off until the game starts. It doesn't matter who decommits. It doesn't matter who commits. None of this matters. Because if Caleb Williams decides to leave, y'all will spin it again. And if he comes back, it'll be a win for BV. So no matter what, y'all are going to drink the Kool-Aid, just like a lot of Texas fans did. And when you do that, you miss flags. And this goes out to all of you guys out here when you go through a difficult breakup, because this was a breakup that was unexpected. Y'all were in the house cooking. Everything was fine.
Put the kids to bed.
On the that's the thing. When we look at our neighbors, when we look at our Texas neighbors, we look at y'all and say, y'all have been with 3 different men in the last 6 years. You are fast, honey. You need to slow down. You need to go and get somebody who is going to be good for you and is going to heal you and going to nurture you and nurture your spirit. Your program is down. And let me tell you something also. Chris, you need to lose some weight because your thing ain't that good down there. I'm just letting you know, okay? That's what Texas is. Texas is the girl that everybody has had their way with, okay, if that's what we want to go. But I just want to say this right here. I said to answer your question directly, unlike Steven, hey, you know, when Lincoln left, it was kind of like a WTF moment. The sky is falling. Oh my gosh, London Bridge is falling down. And then all of a sudden, it's like, wait a minute. Bob Stoops came back, gave a hell of a presser. Bob Stoops, they're legendary. And now you're just thinking, like, you know what? We're gonna be all right. This is OU. We look, yeah, we're gonna be all right. And when you look at Venables, when you look at the players that I've named countless times, all of them, you're just sitting there saying, like, damn, like this team could be really, really, really special. And I would say that's the difference in my mind from an OU to a Texas, because coming into this season, you guys had several question marks on your team. And we talked about it. DB room, wide receiver room. Some of those questions got answered. Some of those questions did not get answered. Okay? I still say this. I'm still on record saying this. The key to y'all season next year of going 9-3 or going 10-2 or however many wins you guys want to get is Casey Thompson. He's your best quarterback, but you have a coach who's reluctant to go ahead and say, I'm rolling with my guy. He has no confidence in him. No confidence. No confidence in Hudson Card either.
Yeah,
but
I think it's just Casey.
When I look at OU, I say, look, that defense is returning a lot of guys. I know we're losing Benito. I know we're losing Perrion. I know we're losing Isaiah Thomas. Isaiah Thomas may be the biggest loss out of that crew. But when I look at that defense, I say, look, there's still a lot of talent on there, and you're going to be able to hit the transfer portal and get some guys and plug and pull. If you could keep Caleb Williams, everything will be just fine, and the sky will be the limit for this team once again next year. And that's OU ball.
Hey, Steven, let me jump in, Steven. Yeah, he's gonna, so BB's gonna do good his first year, and I'm gonna say this: it all hinges on Caleb, just like you said. The thing that hampered Sark was he didn't have his guy. He didn't have a quarterback here. Caleb Williams is a transcendent quarterback. I think we've all seen that. This guy didn't play a lick of ball his senior year.
Caleb. Yeah,
he is a beast. He's a monster. He is exactly, I want to compare this to Bama with Bryce Young. Bama's offensive line has not been great this year, but Bama is Bama right now on that offensive side of the ball. Yes, they got playmakers on the outside, but they got a quarterback who can go out there and make the plays calmly. Nothing rattles him. And Bryce Young was good himself for 3 or 4 wins for Bama this year. And that's the same thing with Caleb Williams. You guys got a special quarterback. If Brent Venables can convince him to stay and tell him, that Schwab meat deal, that he has is great, and that to keep that as your main NIL deal, and don't go to California and soak up all that California money with the coach that recruited you. If he can convince him to stay in Norman, then you guys will have a very good season next year, because Caleb is special, man. Caleb Williams is special, man. And this is coming from a Texas guy. Caleb Williams, it's just a different talent. So if BV keeps him, I see you guys 9-3 or better. That's just my opinion.
So I have 2 points to make, guys, because I want to transition based upon what you just said about the quarterback thing. My last con with BV is you guys have been lauding the defense. And I know Nino brought out the receipts and the numbers. Nobody's saying he was a trash defensive coordinator. Nobody was saying that. I'm just saying that this is the evidence. The bigger point in that is that when you get to a certain level, it's really hard to play defense in college football, period. Okay? You want your defense good enough to where it doesn't cost you in the playoffs. It doesn't give you an L like it happened with Kyler Murray and them against Bama, where y'all didn't even have a shot because you couldn't get them off the field. But this is still an offensive game. And my point to this is that, did you guys overcorrect? Did you put the magnifying glass so much on the defense that you didn't appreciate your elite offense for the last however many years under Lincoln Riley. So be careful about overcorrecting. This is not necessarily a con. It's more so be forewarned, if you will.
I hear what you. Well, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, Seth.
Well, I was just going to say, I hear you, what you're saying. And I mean, yeah, it's a valid concern about overcorrecting. But I mean, like we talked about last time we all linked up, the offense was declining pretty consistently under Lincoln Riley since he was handed the keys to the kingdom. I mean, that like it just seemed like the numbers. It wasn't just the numbers. It was just you could just see it with your eyes. The play, it was becoming more predictable. It was becoming less inventive. Obviously, it was being defended a lot more consistently by the Big 12 and teams beyond. And so, if anything, we're not even looking for Brent Venables to not only obviously turn around the defense, but we're not looking for him to find a way to reproduce what Lincoln was doing, because what Lincoln was doing, I think if Lincoln would have stayed here another 2 or 3 years, that offense would have been almost where it was when he showed up in 2015, which was not good. Was the whole reason why he was brought here from East Carolina. So with right now, there's still a bunch of guys on the offensive side, the staff-wise, that are still in place. And if BV keeps those guys, there's going to be a lot of that. There's still going to be some sense of continuity on that side of the ball. Yeah, the play caller, the guy who drew up the plays is gone. But me and I'm pretty sure Chris as well, and a lot of OU fans, we're not concerned about the future, even the short-term future of the offense. Obviously, like we said, Caleb Williams being a real key to that. I have faith in what BV is going to end up doing as far as who he's going to get to call plays and coordinate the offense. But yeah, I'm not as concerned. I think what he's going to do, what I expect him to do on the defensive side of the ball is going to more than make up for whatever losses occur on the offensive side of the ball. And I think in time, the offense is going to get back to at least where it was this season, which frankly was not impressive. There were not a lot of impressive performances in 2021. And I mean, it was the writing was on the wall there as far as that goes.
So let's be honest. I just want to jump in here too. I mean, let's be honest. Let's be fully transparent here, okay?
Please.
As
that's
much
all it's been.
As okay, that's a lie, Cap. But you guys, and it hurts me to say this. It hurts my core to say this because y'all know that was my boy. But there's merit in all what you guys were saying all along about Spencer Rattler. Okay? And y'all know how much I love Spencer Rattler.
Yeah, you told us he was Pat Mahomes.
But he still is. But with Lincoln, it goes right back to Seth's point, man. There was a startling regression in what was going on. And you look at this team here and you say, Lincoln, we were mostly successful when we were running that zone running scheme. That zone running scheme had everybody looking good. It even had Eric Gray looking good, who was pretty much non-existent in your run game this year. But he was reluctant to stay with that, and he went right back to the GT pool, the GT counter, and all that stuff. It was just like, what are we doing? We're not running any intermediary routes. We're not getting Caleb, out and about, letting him freelance, letting him run around, letting him just create plays and create for others. We're literally sitting here bogging him down and telling him he's got to do this, he's got to do that. And it's just like something did not click. I mean, we could get, that's another subject for another day, how dedicated Lincoln was to this season. But I'll be the first to say, Lincoln, Robbie, thank you. However,
that's exactly what
excuse my language. Let me finish it. Let me get that out. Lincoln Riley, thank you. But get the fuck on. I am done with that. That chapter of OU football is over. And people need to realize that we about to knock some heads now again, but in a different way. As Brent Venables will put it, relentless. So what was the rest? Go ahead and finish that. What did he say? It was suffocating, relentless, all types of adjectives. I was just like, oh, I like that. And it got me hyped. But I'm just saying, though, for real, though, like
absolutely. Those are the words that our strength and conditioning coach used to use, man. They used to get you fired up at 5 a.m. in the morning to go out there and kill it, man.
Oh,
So
this guy here.
that's dope, bro. I'm glad y'all showed up to the airport. I'm glad you're fired up. Not much else there to do.
Hey, you want to know?
So,
you want to know what's funny? You want to know what's funny?
you know what's funny is that you let go of Spencer Rattler as a client, and now you're being honest. That's what's funny.
Yeah, that's funny.
He's clearly been released from his NIL deals, and now you're telling the truth about Spencer
They're
Rattler.
getting upset. They're getting mad at us, and they're talking all this noise about our coach coming out there and saying these things. Granted, their coach all season was talking about all gas, no brakes, and we saw the wheels fall off. We saw the transmission go bad. We saw the whole damn car, the whole damn engine was just done. You guys had to look brakes. What? Y'all had no gas.
We're used to this though. Unfortunately, this is where we're at as a program. You're not telling me anything new. Here's you got left.
It's so ironic, man.
You got left. And so now it's like the justification process and everything. You're gonna get BV tatted up on the right arm. You're gonna come out stronger than ever.
I already got my appointment set up.
Stronger than ever. We wanted BV all along. BV should have been back years ago. I get it.
Hey, nobody said that.
Hey,
Nobody said
I think
that.
Y'all just said he's already a better coach than Lincoln Riley was.
You called him a grand slam.
Grand slam hired.
He definitely got some bigger cojones. I can tell you that, because I think you say Lincoln left, but I think it was that his leaving says more about him as a man than it does about OU as a program. Because I mean, it's out there. You can look it up. He wasn't on board. He wasn't fully on board with the move to the SEC. And I mean, the only way I can think about that was that, I mean, what that says 2 + 2 is that he was afraid of SEC competition. So it's like he wanted, and then not only that, but then where he went speaks to it as well. Because then he went to the weakest Power 5 conference in the country. So it's like he just wants to be the big fish in a small pond, and he proved that with that move. So it's like, I think addition by subtraction with OU with Lincoln leaving. Yeah, he's got a great track record as an offensive coordinator. It's not as rosy as it used to be, but it's still there. But I mean, if that's truly who he is as a man, that's truly his character, he was never going to lead OU to where they want to go, and it was going to be a dumpster fire before long. Luckily, the true hero of the tales, Bob Stoops, came in to the rescue to take over.
I'm so concerned about our brothers and sisters in Norman, Oklahoma, because this is bordering on a cult. Because here's the thing, I've noticed a lot of groupthink. One thing I will say about as toxic as Texas fans can be, at least people have independent thought, right? Like when Steve Sarkisian got hired, there were people that questioned the hire. Mm-hmm. There were people that loved the hire. Mm-hmm. There were people that wanted Urban Meyer. There were people that wanted different coaches, what have you. But there were differing opinions. OU fans, they're like it went from Lincoln Riley is God, Savior, everything to he's an addition by subtraction. Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord slips you. To now. Brent Venables, everyone in OU's on board. There's no questions. Grand Slam hire. We're going to win a natty in 3 years.
Lincoln Riley was the college chick that was the first college chick we got with. That's all he was.
Raised any legitimate concern about the hire. Don't you think that's concerning, Nino? Like this massive group think that's going on?
Yes.
Or is that just more of an Oklahoma thing?
No,
they don't got much else going on there, and they kind of fall into
Steven,
I am. What's crazy.
Hold on. Hey, Chris. He said Nino.
Okay, I'm sorry.
He said Nino. So, hey, man, I got some more receipts, bro. Hey, man, I got some more receipts.
Here we go. Come on, Nick. Come on.
So, all right. So, who y'all hiring for your offensive coordinator again? What's his name?
I don't know if it's official yet, but it's like the reports are just
pretty much. It's pretty much.
I mean, but it's
done.
Levy, right? It's Levy, right?
It's pretty much.
He's looking
done.
like the guy, yeah.
Okay.
Which there is actually a clear division between the OU fan base with Levy, with all the controversy that surrounds him. So if you want to say that OU's got a group thing going on,
no, I mean, but I'm not even talking about the controversy.
Thank you for the super chat, Isaiah.
Let's just talk about the X's and O's with Levy.
I'm gonna let Nino finish his point.
Okay, so I did my little research on Lebby today. I knew I had to talk with Chris today. I didn't get to bring this up on the Ty show. I kind of held back on the Ty show. I didn't want to bring this up on the Ty show. I wanted to get what I'm saying? Hey, Lebby. Everybody is so enamored with Lebby, right? That he is going to be amazing as offensive coordinator. I see a lot of people saying how hey, the Art Brow system is going to be something that's going to be unstoppable. Yeah, okay. Let's talk about this unstoppable offense. Okay. How many times do you think Lebby and his offense? Because Chris, you did tell me today on Ty's show that Lebby calls the plays, right?
Yeah.
Okay. How many Power 5 teams has Lebby scored more than 31 points on this year?
Let's go ahead and get to your point.
No. Chris. I'm asking the question.
Yeah, Alabama
No.
curb stomped them. Okay,
No,
Alabama
Chris.
curb stomped them.
Chris, how many? No, I'm not talking about. And guess what? Alabama's defense is not even that good this year compared to the previous. But I am asking. I just want you guys to guess. Power 5 opponents this year. How many of them did Lebby face that he scored more than 31 points on?
Well, no, I didn't watch a lot of that mediocre.
Yeah, I didn't watch a lot of Ole Miss football. Sorry.
So hold on. So Ole Miss is mediocre football, but you guys are bringing the mediocre football offensive coordinator to be your offensive coordinator.
Did you call him mediocre, Seth?
That's what Seth just said.
No. I didn't say he's mediocre. I said just the same way.
In general, is media. I mean. Yeah, they have one good year. Okay, well, I mean, do it consistently.
Okay, so hold on. Chris,
we tell Oklahoma State every year, do it consistently.
Chris,
y'all got one win, but
Chris, you're making my point. You said they had one good year. Okay, one good year.
Yeah.
How many times? Well, you know what? I'm not going to ask a question more. I'm just going to tell you. Yeah. Power 5 opponents that Ole Miss has faced this year, where Lebby has gotten more than 31 points in the game. Louisville in the first game of the season, 43 points. Okay. Not Austin P. Yeah, right. Not Tulane. We're not going to count that. Those are not Power 5 opponents. Arkansas scored 52. And my friends, that was it.
Well, think about this. I mean, look at
that was it.
Look at common opponent. How did Lincoln Riley do against Tulane versus how did Lebby do against Tulane?
Seth, you ain't even got to go there. Hell, if Lebby was calling plays for Texas, I'm sure they wouldn't have went 5-7. How about that? Because it seemed like y'all play caller didn't know what the hell he was doing. And tell Sarkisian to stop kneeling down. Every time he kneels down, what are you doing?
Chris,
stop looking at that stupid ass paper. You ain't got
Chris, why are we talking about Texas? We're talking about Brent Venables and his staff.
Get the hell out of here, man.
Chris, me and Chris, well, not me and Chris, me and Steven have voiced our opinions on the Texas offense. You can see it every week after every game. We voice our opinions. We've had the round tables. We've talked about all this shit. We're talking about Brent Venables. And hey, Mike, I like that comment. Nino's bringing up the facts like a lawyer should. Chris, you're a lawyer. You do better. Do better, Chris, with a K. All right?
Yeah, your karate is a joke.
There's 2 Power 5 opponents that Lebby has faced that he scored more than 31 points. And Chris, you said it out of your own mouth that Ole Miss had one good season. And that's the guy that you're bringing in to be the savior of your offense when you guys, no matter how you want to say it, I was telling my wife this too, because, she's an Alabama fan, right? She's from Alabama. She's from Greene County. I got 2 nieces that went to Alabama, graduated from Alabama, 2 sister-in-laws that went to Alabama, cousins that went to Alabama, even played football on the team. They have gotten so spoiled, right, with their team and their success that my wife is like, Alabama's not good this year. Oh, they suck this year. Okay, look where Alabama's at right now. They don't suck. It's not to the standard of what you guys are used to because this is the off year, okay? This is the off year for Alabama, and they're excelling in their off year. This was supposed to be you guys this year, but Spencer Rattler wasn't who y'all thought he was. All right. So maybe Lincoln Riley wasn't given the full playbook to Caleb because guess what? He's a true freshman. I do know, and everybody's watched the games, y'all's offense was drastically better once Caleb got in the offense. Right or wrong?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Okay. So let's be honest. How many head coaches in college football give their freshmen their true freshman quarterback who just was in prom 6 months ago, the full playbook.
He was there during spring ball. Are you serious? What are you talking about?
Okay, so he was there 8 months. How many college coaches give their true freshman quarterback the whole playbook?
The word was this right here going into the season. They said, hey, if for some reason Spencer gets hurt or something funky happens this year, Caleb is more than capable of coming in there and doing exactly what he needs to do. Okay.
And then that should tell you that obviously Spencer didn't have the full playbook then either.
The problem, Nick, and you know this, the problem was not with I truly believe there was something going on with Rattler. I get it. He did not play up to the standards and expectation we all had for him. I get that. But when it comes down to it, Spencer Rattler's best game came against K-State when they ran that zone scheme. And anybody in here who was watching that game or anybody who just knows football knows that whenever they ran that zone scheme with that offensive line, OU was able to look just like they did last year. Not maybe still not to the same part, but I would say, hey, look, they were close to that level. So I'm looking at Spencer Rattler and saying, look, it may not be all on you because literally I go back to the point how dedicated was Lincoln to this to you this season. But at the same time, Lincoln hurt this team when he was hesitant and reluctant and would not run that zone running scheme. Because when they ran the zone running scheme, even with Caleb, they were extremely successful. He's able to get out there in open space. He's able to do these things. But also you have Kennedy Brooks, even Eric Gray, who are contributing to the run game. The passing game was there. But when you look at this season as a whole, I mean, not even that point right there. Let's go to another point. You look at it like a Jaden Hazelwood. Why is Jaden Hazelwood running bubble screens? Seth, to this day, me and you both still don't understand why that was even happening. Why are you not putting Mario Williams? Why are you not putting a Marvin Mims right there to actually catch those balls? So when I go to the failures of the season, I don't put them all on a Caleb or that. It really literally falls on the leader of the program at that time, Lincoln. And yes, Lincoln was great. Lincoln was this. But I have been on record. Seth has been on record. All OU fans have been on record. There are certain games, there are certain times in a lot of big-time games where Lincoln's play calling is trash. There are times, if you go back to the Alabama game, you will see people like Hollywood Brown lining up as a running back. What the hell are we doing? Why do we need gimmick and trick plays to beat these teams? So I'm saying the reason why, and I go back to this point, the reason why I say this was a slam dunk, this was a grand slam hire, was because the ideology, the psychology, the mentality that is coming with a Brent Venables is way different than it is with one Lincoln Riley. We all know Lincoln Riley is about to go up there and run through the Pac-12. We all feel like that's what's going to happen. Nick, you said it. I've said it. Mm-hmm. Seth, I know you agree deep down, even though you're calling him soft-headed Shirley. I know that's how you feel.
He didn't get past Paul Whittingham.
You have backwards with that mean look on your face like you did whenever Texas lost to Kansas, but you know it too. But I will say this, though. It's easy to see. And I'm not trying to turn against Lincoln Riley. I'm just telling you. I'm just being fully transparent.
Oh, you already have. Don't worry about not trying.
I just want to be fully transparent, but I'm just saying, like, it was the X's and O's more than it was the players this year. That's what I feel like. Go to the Kansas game. Go to the Kansas game and look, not the offensive side, but look at the defensive side of the ball. You got your team playing 15 yards off of these wide receivers. They were just getting out routes the whole time to get freaking first downs.
So, Chris, I have a question because you've been talking for a little bit, and I want to address some of the things you just said. So earlier in the year, when you guys were 8-0, that period of time, I think we had you on the channel, and both Nino and I were bringing up how you guys were playing at the time, and both of you said, "Oh, don't worry about it. We know how to win." That's the point, Steve. We're winning games. It doesn't matter. But we were noticing all these flaws you're bringing up. I'm having a hard time getting down what you're saying because we told you all this months ago and you ignored it.
And
because the thing is, you don't respect us as objective football guys. Like you think we're just speaking from the standpoint of like Texas fans. And I really do. When I talk to my friends that are LSU fans or A&M fans, I try to give you the cold hard facts for what I see from your football team. I don't bring my fandom into whether or not a team's playing, all these type of things. I try to keep it objective as possible when really saying how well a team is playing. So these things you're bringing up now and all these frustrations, whether it's lineup, whether it's scheme, whether it's play calling, something was off all year, and we tried to tell you that.
I ain't
And
gonna
it was,
admit that to no damn
team of
Texas fan.
destiny.
You crazy. Not
All
when
the
y'all was
team of
having the
destiny.
season
See,
y'all
there
was
you go.
having. I ain't gonna admit that to no damn Texas
Wait,
fan.
if
anybody being a Texas fan.
I can
We're
address that,
football fans first.
if I can address that, Stephen,
Please.
I think the difference was that we've seen especially since Lincoln took over in 2017, we've seen them, and obviously they've lost up until this year. They had lost at least one game. They have lost one game during the regular season at least, and it was usually in October. So at that point, even though, the team was showing a lot of inconsistencies and there was a lot of struggles on both sides of the ball that y'all pointed out, the difference is those previous years, we knew that OU, for whatever reason, they just flipped the switch when it hit November. They turned the corner, whatever it was. And we were attributing that to Lincoln. None of us, nobody on any side was privy to the information that everyone strongly believes that Lincoln Riley had his foot out of the door, one foot out of the door for a while, a lot longer than just, a couple hours or whatever, like he said on Scott Van Pelt show. Like there were moves were being made a lot longer, and whether it's a technical thing where he wasn't maybe talking directly to USC, but his agent was, and obviously him and his agent or whoever definitely were in talks, and he knew the T a lot longer than whatever he says, when that move started to go down. So for whatever he wasn't focused in. If I had that information, if I had that psychic intrinsic information back when OU was 8-0 or whatever still, I would have been extremely worried about what's going on, because then it would have made more sense to me why the team was underperforming week in, week out. But before then, to me, it looked like what I had seen the previous 3 or 4 years, which was, OU just for whatever reason, they just kind of sleepwalk through the season until they lose, and then they just turn it on, run the table, go to the playoffs, lose in the playoffs.
Seth, why did you give him that benefit of the doubt?
Just because I'd seen him and his teams flip the switch. Right. But that's what I'm saying. If I would have known in those previous years that he's about to leave before the season ends, I wouldn't have been as confident going into the back half of those seasons. But since I had seen him do it, I just figured, I didn't expect him. Nobody expected him to leave for USC or leave for anywhere. I mean, the rumors were LSU for that last week or so, but even I wasn't buying into those. But if I had known that this is most likely the reason why OU was looking like it was for those last few weeks against Baylor and against OSU and such, I would have definitely been a lot more concerned and would have understood why the team was trending the way it was.
Hey guys, I got a point to make on this. All right, so it's just the same thing that people give Texas hell for. Okay, you don't give them enough time. You don't give them enough time to do this. This is the first time that Lincoln Riley's been a head coach, right? This is first time.
Fifth season.
And in 5 years, he brought you 4 Big 12 championships. How many playoff appearances? 2, right?
He brought 3, 17, 18, 19.
Yeah.
Okay, so 3. Okay, so let's get this straight, right? It's the guy's first time coaching as a head coach, CEO. Okay. Granted, he was given a Ferrari. Understand.
Yeah. His best team was the first team he got.
Yeah, understood. But also, what we have to look at here is head coaches are also, in this day and age, a product of their quarterback. This is what it is. We see what Dabo's done without Trevor Lawrence or Watson, right? He's looked like crap this year, right? He had for whatever people want to say about Baker Mayfield in the NFL. Him in college was an amazing player, fun to watch player, grit, grind. He had it, right? He had it. He had Kyler Murray too. You had two pretty much transcendent quarterbacks in college football for this era. And that goes a long way, especially coupled with that offense. This year was supposed to be Spencer's year, and it just wasn't for some reason. We can bring up the points, but it just wasn't. To me, Spencer gets happy feet when there's any kind of movement around his feet. He gets happy feet. He looks uncomfortable in the pocket. It's just something about him. Caleb looks like somebody who is so calm, like even in the shootout. Ball gets hiked, hits the ground. What does Caleb do? Picks it up like it's nothing. Most people would have just jumped in the ball and say, live for another day. Picks the ball up like it's nothing, throws a 60-yard touchdown or whatever, right? So, this year was supposed to be Spencer's year, and it just wasn't his year. Caleb comes in, he's basically learning on the fly because he hasn't played in a real game in over a year and a half. Next year, I'm telling you, if Lincoln Riley was in this system next year with Caleb, that was the year. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, I think that's the year. I think y'all's defense held up pretty well this year. I know you guys say not, but that defense was a bend, not break defense. They didn't allow a lot of points this year. The offense was kind of holding them back a little bit, and I just think Caleb didn't get the playbook opened up like he should have. But I think if Lincoln Riley was here next year, that this was going to be y'all's year in 2022. That's just my opinion. Coming from a Texas fan, I hate to say it, but this is going to be y'all's year. It's like Lincoln Riley, Caleb's coming back. Jesus Christ, jeez Louise, right? And so
I want to agree with you. I want to,
but all we can go is what Steven said. Every time that we've talked about Lincoln Riley and this offense in the past, it has been, it's going to happen. They're going to kick into another gear. I just think they couldn't kick into gear this year. Yes, he had outside stuff going on. However, he did have a freshman quarterback, and he had a guy who he thought was going to be the first pick of the draft this year, right? In Spencer, and he just didn't look like that guy this year. So this was their down year this year, and I think next year was going to be the year for you guys because Caleb was going to come into his own, be the man, take ownership of the team because Spencer was going to be gone. It's hard to play when the starter is on the field and you replace him. Now he's over your shoulder every play. It's hard to play like that. He was going to own that team next year, and I think that was going to be the year for you guys. But it is what it is.
So
it is what it is.
So B182, thank you for the super chat. I want to answer his question real quick. Do you guys think Boosters forced Lincoln to play Caleb? No.
No, that's not a thing. Dude.
That was Spencer's play.
Thank you for the super chat, Pat. No, that was Spencer.
Yeah, he did the same exact thing, last year, obviously, in
right.
Same game. It was just a heat of the moment. And I think that's like the best of Lincoln Riley, I feel like, because those kinds of in-game decisions where he's not afraid to make a change if somebody is egregiously, just in over their head.
Yeah.
So that kind of stuff, I gave Lincoln props both times.
I have a hot take.
That's the CEO though. That's the CEO. That's the CEO of a team, knowing the pulse of your team. A lot of coaches couldn't do that.
Oklahoma football.
Oh, all right. I'm all for hot takes. I love bookmarking these.
Please. You guys are blaming Lincoln Riley for some of Bob Stoops' sins.
Was that?
You guys are blaming Lincoln Riley for some of Bob Stoops' sins. Please let me know if my mic is not coming through clear enough.
Well, could you elaborate on that?
I will. Okay. So just like Brother Nino did, I pulled some receipts because
God,
because
God.
You guys have been complaining about you reference like the Alabama game, right? And like, hey, when we got in the biggest of games, we had these problems, or we couldn't compete, or blah blah blah.
I just never said we couldn't compete. I just said, hey, like it's just play calling was bad at different.
Whatever it was, whatever narrative you want to go with right now, Chris, that's fine. Here's my hot take. Oklahoma's had, in my opinion, on the biggest stage, this has consistently been an issue since you lost the Orange Bowl to USC many moons ago. Okay? You guys got obliterated off the face of the earth in the Orange Bowl, I believe that was. Several of these bowl games, Clemson, back-to-back years, 2014, 2015, who was the head coach? Was that Lincoln Riley that was the head coach?
Oh wait, you're talking about? Yeah, no, that's Bob.
That was Bob. So all this narrative about Lincoln Riley it's true that he was unsuccessful in these playoff games and whatnot, but Lincoln Riley didn't lose to Boise State back in the 2000s. He didn't get destroyed by USC back in the day. He didn't get got by LSU. He didn't get got by Florida when y'all had one of the most loaded offenses ever. Come on now. Like that right there, because I always talk about with Texas, there's certain things within the fundamental nature of our program that have just persisted. And to me, this is something I've always said about OU. I don't trust when they get in those big, everything's on the table type games.
Yeah.
I really haven't seen them come through like that. This goes back through the Bob Stoops era. That's my only critique of Bob Stoops. Bob Stoops is excellent. He deserves all the praise, the statue. I love him for y'all, for what he's done for y'all.
So
the evidence is there with the bowl records in terms of those biggest games.
Our problem has been, I guess, winning those big games, and your problem has been development. So Chris Hernandez, go ahead in the comments, say it again. I'll go back to Texas. But I would say that Florida game, going back to that right there, you're looking at it and you're saying that's a what-if game right there. Just like the
DeMarco Murray.
Yeah, DeMarco Murray. Just like Alabama game. Well, if McCoy doesn't get hurt, you guys felt pretty confident about what was going on. You don't go out there with Gilbert, right? Right.
I was told Chris Brown would have no problem picking up the slack. That's what I was told at that.
Hell no. Come on, man.
That's what I was told by the Oklahoma fan base. Oh, Chris Brown's also a 1,000-yard back.
That's the worst take you've had. That's the worst take you've had. That's the worst take you've had, man. Come on, man. Be real. That's what I was told at the time by OU fans, that Chris Brown pick up the slack. Ain't no worries. We rolling. That's what I was told. Chris Brown looked good in during different spots during that season, but come on, man, DeMarco, man, it's DeMarco.
I hear you.
I mean, I can say there's some merit in that. I mean, we could go off on Mac Brown all we want. There's some merit in that, but the fact
I've always said that about Mac Brown. Don't get me. Yeah, that's been a consistent take.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He hurt y'all the most because y'all had Saban right there at y'all doorstep, and he messed it all the way up. But I loved it. But I was like, damn, he really.
Chris, I just feel like Lincoln's getting not you in particular, but a lot of OU fans put all of this big game lack of success
on Lincoln.
And that's been the case for
I know everybody in your comments is going to eat this up and everything, but when you come out there against Alabama and you spot them 28 points, and all of a sudden the second half you look like you got a pulse, and you're like, bro, buddy, like it's just not going to work. Like, this game is over. It's been over. You look at
what did Bob and them do against that USC team back in 2004?
That USC team, that's one team. But when you look at that Florida game, it wasn't like Florida won. It wasn't like LSU beat them by 7 points. And then you look at the other. What was the other game? The Florida game.
Florida won 24-14. And then there was other big. I guess back then it was like BCS games and stuff. OU did pretty, consistent as far as like if it wasn't a national championship game, a lot of times they were winning it. Obviously people want to highlight the Boise State game. Bob's last game was a New Year's Six game, 2016 season against Auburn. They blasted them. It wasn't even a contest, and so 2 or 3 years before that, Trevor Knight and Josh Heupel led offense, beat Bama by 2 touchdowns. So it's not like he was just always stinking it up. It's just he ran into some buzzsaws, just like Lincoln Riley.
Didn't Lincoln put 60-something on Florida this past year in the bowl game?
It was like 55, yeah.
Yeah, like 55-20. 55.
Right, so Lincoln had his moments too.
Yeah, but he had his low moments too. Look at every regular season he's had. He lost in 2017 to Iowa State with like on their third string, half linebacker, half quarterback.
Hold on, though.
In Norman. Then 2018. They lost to Kansas State back-to-back years. The scrub Kansas State teams.
My point is this. I want to, let me finish my point real quick. I'm going to hand it to you.
Go ahead.
My point is this. you guys bring up the Lincoln stuff because he left. Some of you are saying, "Oh, I've always complained about it." Fine. You want to be the guy. Show me your receipts, please.
We
because
got receipts.
a lot
Go
of this,
watch our
a lot of
videos.
this
Y'all can
energy.
catch us at the
I'm
Orange
just
Down
now
Podcast,
seeing it
by
for the
way.
first time.
I got
But the reason why you guys don't bring up the Bob Stoops stuff is because he never left you. He's been loyal to the soil. So you are able to forgive the sins. That's what all of us do as fans for the people we
Bob
love.
Stoops was just, if you want me to say it, I'll say it. Bob Stoops was just as stale as Mac Brown on the way out. Both of them could leave. Okay. He was just as stale. Recruiting was down, all that stuff was down. Because if you go back and look at that team, as y'all call it, a Maserati, I would say it's not a Maserati. It's kind of just like a really, really nice Range Rover. Because granted, yeah, you had Baker Mayfield, and I mean, coming off the success of Baker Mayfield and Sterling Shepard. Outside of that, who the hell else? Michael Jones.
Hey, you're making my point, Chris. What I've talked about over the past two podcasts that we talked about today. Transcendent quarterbacks make a program. They just do. Look at LSU with Joe Burrow. That was a transcendent year for him. Trevor Lawrence with Clemson, transcendent quarterback. Clemson, Deshaun Watson, transcendent quarterback.
Nino, look at last weekend.
Yeah. Yes.
People talking about Georgia's defense. Is one of the greatest defenses.
Bryce Young has won Alabama himself 4 games. You know what I'm saying? Kyler Murray, transcendent quarterback. Baker Mayfield, transcendent quarterback. You got Heisman quarterbacks that you're just throwing out there. And the minute you guys didn't have a Heisman quarterback in Jalen, you saw a small little decline there, a small decline because you had a guy who couldn't make those throws. But a transcendent quarterback drives it here in college. In college football, it's about the quarterback, man. And I think we all know that. And you won't see teams back in the day where you can have an Alabama with a McCarron or McElroy. That shit ain't happening no more. It's not happening. You gotta have a stud.
I'm looking at it with Michigan.
Hey, come on, man. Steve. I mean, Chris, understand what you're saying. If Michigan line up against Alabama today, what's gonna happen? They're gonna get blasted. They're gonna get Michigan is Georgia in the Big Ten. They got an awesome defense. They run the ball well, and they got a quarterback with a linguini arm. That's what Michigan is. Let's just keep it 100. If Michigan plays Alabama tomorrow and 9 times on Sunday, Alabama's going to blast them. Let's keep it real.
I'm just telling you, I don't know if it's necessarily a transcendent quarterback or just somebody who knows what the hell he's doing. I mean, either you're Stetson, I guess the measuring stick is we got the transcendent quarterback, we got the Texas quarterbacks, then we got the Stetson Bennett's, right? Oh, excuse me, Stetson Bennett, then the Texas quarterbacks, and then there's Spencer Sanders.
So Chris, so you're saying you don't think it's a point of having a transcendent quarterback in this era? You guys went from Baker to college.
I still believe,
as long as they keep him. Just imagine a Brent Venables defense in year 2 and a Caleb Williams in year 3. What's that team going to look like?
Yeah, that's what I've been trying to tell you guys. It's not.
But I'm saying this right here. If you put Stetson Bennett at Alabama right now, Alabama still makes it to the playoffs.
No,
not this
year. They've done this plenty of times.
No.
In previous years, yes. Not this year.
Jake freaking Coker. And
you're talking about a different roster.
Jake Coker with Derrick Henry behind him and a hell of an offensive line. Hey, Chris, do your research on this. Get some receipts.
That's what I'm saying.
No, look,
everybody else
Chris,
he was phenomenal, but he wasn't.
No, Chris.
Come on, man.
Bryce Young has been sacked more times than Casey Thompson and Hudson Card this year. Yeah. Alabama's offensive line has been ranked behind Texas's offensive line in every category except 2 this entire season. What's the difference?
What's
the difference? a transcendent quarterback in Bryce Young.
What's the
That is the
difference?
difference.
Is you have that
Stetson-
Williamson kid, and you have Mechie and playmakers like that you guys don't have.
But no,
guys who can
you gotta
separate
have a
and
guy
get
getting the ball. You gotta, hey, Stetson Benson ain't throwing them balls like that. Let's keep it real. A transcendent quarterback.
Stetson
Come
Bennett
on,
has made
Chris.
some throws
You
this
know
year.
it's true.
I'll admit that. I've watched enough Georgia.
You know
games
it's
to see that
true.
he's made some throws.
Georgia has never played from behind this year. And because they are a run-first team that cannot pass the freaking ball. When they got down and they couldn't run the ball to get back in the game, that's when they lost the game and had to depend on Linguini arm.
Are you listening to this Surfer Boy?
Come on, man. Let's
Are
keep
you
it
listening
100.
to what Nino's
Let's
saying
keep it
right now?
100.
Because this is exactly what I told
Let's
you
keep it 100.
months ago.
That tight end that they had, I guess he just got freshman
He's a
All-American
good-
and all the rest of that from blocking.
Okay,
Brock
and
Bowers.
so did Xavier Worthy. But what did that do for Texas? So did Xavier Worthy. You can't have a Linguini on quarterback, and you want to talk about he gonna lead. He can't do that. He's not Bryce Young. It is what it
Nick
is.
Saban defensively was ready to have a master class against Stetson Bennett,
Stetson
just like he
Benson-
did last season.
Dude, Chris, you know Stetson Benson ain't going to no league.
By the way, this is a point. This is a great point to shout out our sponsor, BUSR, because you know what I did on BUSR this weekend? I put a shitload of money on Bama because I knew Stetson Bennett was who I thought he was, Surfer Boy, and I went on busr.com/fanatic and I leveraged some free. Actually, the free play money I leveraged when I first got this sponsorship. I actually put money on Bryce Young to win the Heisman. No bullshit. And I'm excited to get my payout when that happens.
How much
so that's neither here nor there. But busr.com/fanatic. If you were like me, you've been telling Stetson Bennett and all these other Georgia fans that Stetson Bennett IV was going to – Nick Saban has something for him because he cannot play football like that from behind with the Linguini arm, with the noodle arm QBs. They're coming for you. So, Stetson, I love you. Or Surfer Boy, I love you. I see you in the comments. Shout out to busr.com/fanatic. Also, they're doing a promo, $100. If you bet in the first 24 hours, they will match the $100. We have a few minutes left. We didn't touch on the Texas NIL stuff. We can do that later because that's a whole nother can of worms. But one thing I want to touch on, and Nino, you were in this conversation we were having in a different group chat. The eras of college football. We are now in a different era, and I think a lot of people are looking at this only from an NIL perspective. But if you're looking at it from this is why we're having this discourse right now, Chris, because the game of football has changed and the game off the field has changed.
Yeah.
Y'all, obviously, you got your girl taken from you in a very, very embarrassing, the whole world saw it manner. Same thing happened with Notre Dame. We see coaches get plucked, but overall, the money that is being, leveraged. So not just NIL, and eventually the playoffs, right? We're talking about expansion. You and I are going to the SEC. I just want to get y'all's general thoughts in terms of just whether you like it or not, all of this change in college football. I'll start with you, Seth.
Yeah, whether I like the change with NIL and it just being
everything, because the whole landscape of college football is changing.
Right.
NIL is a big piece, but it's a piece. Now the coaches have always been changing, but I've never seen coaches like the coach. Now it's become like crazy because I think the NIL is influencing. I think the playoffs influeing and all the TV dollars. So just curious to get people's thoughts on how everything's going.
I think my take on it is, I think, a little interesting because me being a fan of OU, which is obviously one of the big boys in the nation, I'm not as against it. Like, I mean, obviously I'm all for players getting theirs and getting paid. I've always been on that side of the fence there. But with obviously, it's kind of like the rich get richer in this case with NIL. But OU is one of the richer teams. It's in that group. It's in that whatever tier you want to put it. They're up there. I'm not saying they're the richest. Obviously, Texas has probably got that title right now, probably for the foreseeable future. But OU's up there with the best of them, and there's always going to be a big crop of the top recruits and top guys coming out every year. All the big boys are going to get their share every year. That's just how it works. There's so much talent out there across the nation. So for me, I'm okay with it. Obviously, it does present some things. I think something that is interesting to look at is like there's guys that are going to get huge deals, like a Quinn Ewers at Ohio State. He's in the transfer portal already. Like, I mean, he's already on his way somewhere else, maybe Texas, Texas Tech, something. But so it's like that's interesting to me too because it's almost like even with those mega deals like that, that's not going to be enough necessarily. It's still going to come down to playing time, situation for a lot of these kids, just opportunity, things like that, or fit. So I think that's still going to prevail in the end, but it does add a new dimension as far as what draws certain prospects to certain campuses, and just kind of who is in consideration for these kids coming out of high school. But I think ultimately it's a good thing because these players, for what they do for the sport and for their teams and their schools, they deserve to be compensated in some way. They deserve to profit off their own name. So I think I'm always going to be for that. I think it does suck for smaller schools like teams like Cincinnati and stuff like that that are good programs, but over time we might see a decline of teams like that. There might not be as many chances for teams like that. Obviously, with the expansion of the playoffs, they will probably have more chances to compete at the highest level. But as far as getting those top guys, we might not see it as much unless they get them through.
But Cincinnati was never getting top guys.
Yes, I was going to make
but
that's not going to change.
Yeah, but they're also. I think we can all agree that this is for them to be an opportunity they have now. They got the most help.
They got gyms. They developed guys. Things came along. I mean,
yeah, but they got the most. Like if this was a more normal year of college football, they would have never made it. They got a lot of help from a lot of conferences as far as the conferences top dogs kind of falling on the wayside, like Pac-12, ACC, Big 12. All those teams ate up each other, ate their own. So the door just opened up, and then they also happened to have a great non-conference schedule by having Notre Dame and then beating, capitalizing. So it was just like the planets aligned for them. And even then, they barely made it. Like it came down to the wire for them. It came down
in
to
a 4-team system, though. I mean, if we go to 12,
but that's what I'm saying. But by then, like it's just going to be. I think the talent gap. This is my opinion, but I think the talent gap is going to widen. So yeah, I know, I get you. I get it. They already don't have like the plethora of 5 stars and 4 stars that most of those other teams that they're competing with at the top in the top 5, top 10 have. But I just see the talent gap growing in between. So it's great that they're in this year because in 5-10 years they might not even have a chance of competing.
Steven, what's going on in your chat, man, with these webcams?
Yeah, we're gonna block this.
Yeah.
Hot girls.
Hey, Steven, I'll go next, man.
Oh, go ahead.
I'll go next, man. So, hey, Seth, I like your point about that, but I think honestly, when it comes to the talent gaps, I think people need to understand that everybody's not going to get paid in this NIL era.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So yes, the kids are going to get paid, and they should. But everybody's not going to get paid. So your star athletes, those top 100, 150 guys in the country, yeah, they're going to maximize on this totally. But your 3 stars and your 2 stars that, weren't going to get the shine anyway, they're not getting no NIL money. Nobody's going to be fighting for them to come, no disrespect, right? But unless they're just some utterly crazy talented person, they're not going to get the NIL money that a Quinn Ewers is going to get, or a Bryce Young, or Bijan, or Caleb Williams, right? So those guys are going to always command money. I come from a different stance. People who know me, I used to be the Texas football players RA when I was in college for 4 years, and so I used to always say, it's a damn shame that the coach can make $5-6 million a year at that time, and these kids don't see nothing. They can't major in anything worth a damn. Like most of them can't because they just physically and mentally can't handle practice, film study, wait time, more practice. And oh yeah, class got to go in there somewhere, right? You got to go to class sometime, right? So they don't have the opportunity, like us, to go get a major. I shouldn't say all of them because this sounds bad for me to say it, but the majority of them do not have the opportunity to go and get an engineering degree like I got, right? It's just hard for them to do that. So it's about damn time that there is an NIL program. It's about damn time that these kids are going to be able to get some money, because this might entice a player who might have 3 years in the program and they really want to get their degree, right? This might entice somebody who is a top guy to say, you know what? Let me take this $150,000 and play this year. Let me get my degree. Let me major in something that's worthwhile. Maybe I have enough time. Maybe I'm a 5th-year senior and I'm going to go to the league, right? So this gives me opportunity to get a degree that I really want, because football's not promised, right? So, I'm all for the NIL. I'm all for these kids getting paid. I'm going to always be for the player. I love the transfer rule where they get one opportunity to transfer. The coaches do it all the time. We just saw Lincoln Riley do it, right? I mean, he's been plotting this shit since September. Honestly, I think we all know that.
Yeah.
He's been plotting this for a long time. And so if he can get up and leave and not even finish his damn season, these student athletes have to have the opportunity to do the same thing at least one time, right? So I'm all for the change. One thing that it is going to hurt are the blue blood programs, I think, that aren't in the bigger markets. The guys, like, I shouldn't say bigger markets, but it's like the guys down up in Notre Dame. Let's be honest. Brian Kelly left Notre Dame, which is unheard of, to go coach in LSU, right? And he wants to do this. Why? Because he wants to win championships. And he understands that the best players are in the South, especially the Southeast, and it's an easier opportunity for him to recruit in that area. It's going to be hard to bring a kid from Louisiana to go up to some snow up in, like Notre Dame. They just ain't going to do it. It just is what it is, especially like in Max. So, I mean, in a mass. So, yeah, I'm all for the changes, man. It is going to widen the gap a little bit, but I think the teams that weren't getting the big time talent, they weren't going to get him anyway prior to NIL. They ain't going to get him now. And I think the NIL is basically going to benefit the top guys, not everybody. So, there is a scholarship limit, and that's going to make things, kind of dwindle down, like just a tad, since there is only 25, like scholars per year. So yes, it's going to widen a little bit, but the good players are going to go to the good schools regardless. They're not going to Houston. They're going to go to Texas A&M, OU, Texas. They're not going to Houston. They're not going to North Texas. It is what it is. Sorry, North Texas. My sister graduated from there. Sorry, but they're not going to North Texas. They're not going to Troy. They're going to go to Alabama or Auburn, right? So, yeah, that's just mine.
I think I'll chime in on it. I love the NIL stuff. I've been saying it for years. College football players, college players in general should get paid, especially for sports like that. But I would say, hey, it's another aspect. It's another wrinkle to the fold. Thing is that, hey, you would do all that stuff. That's all fine and dandy. They can tell you, Quinn Ewers, you're going to make all this money. You still got to go and play. You still got to go and perform. It's the thing of, it's I think somebody just put it on there and they said that NIL exposes harditude to the student. No, it doesn't do any of that stuff. These people, these players deserve to get paid, because think about this right here. This goes to to Nick's point. I had a good friend of mine who played in the NFL for a few years. It was running scout teams towards the end of his career or whatnot. He told me, he said, "Hey man, Chris, it's great what you're doing. Masters, law school, all the rest of that stuff. That's great, man. I wish I could have. I would have had time for that, because it's hard out here." And why he said it's hard? He said it's hard because, right, they want you to have 5 years of experience, this and that. I got a degree in psychology. They're telling me I still need to go back to school and do this and do that. And I'm like, damn, I gotta make it work. And he was like, NFL money is great when you're playing, those contracts and everything and stuff, man. He's like, I'm on a practice squad, this and that. We were in a men's league, like hooping and everything. So I get it from that standpoint, because a lot of these college athletes, I got, family. So my cousins were in there, and they were telling me, it's like, man, I'm trying to do accounting, but I'm thinking, hell, I might have to do something easier just to be able to come and make some bread as soon as I get out of school. So from that standpoint, I love it because it's real. It's real out there. It's definitely real. But what I will say is that, college sports, from what a lot of people don't really understand if you've never played it, it's a job, man. It's a grind. I remember waking up and you got 5 a.m. agility drills, you got team breakfast, and you got breakfast, and you got an 8 a.m. class. Been up since 5 a.m. running conditioning drills, 2 miles in 13 minutes, doing other agility stuff, going to the gym, running ladder drills, all types of stuff with the team. You're up at 8 o'clock in the morning taking a class, 9 o'clock class, 10 o'clock class. Then you get lunch. You got to debate on, am I going to eat lunch or am I going to go home or go to the room, chill, sleep, or something? I got weights at 145. I got film at 215. Then after that, I got a 2-hour practice that I got to go to get this done. Then I got to go to the scouting report. And guess what? I got physical science. I got algebra 1. I got all this stuff that I got to do, towards the night. I don't even know when I'm asleep. And I got to make sure that Shorty can come through. So you sit there saying that. So you sit there like, I have to fit all of this into this gap. So I get it from that point. But I will say this, though. It does not hurt college football. It does not hurt any blue blood program, and it definitely does not hurt any smaller programs. If it does anything, it adds what college basketball already has that college football doesn't, which is parity to the sport. Because at the end of the day, yes, I would say if I'm a 5-star, if I'm a high 4-star, I'm looking at it from this standpoint. I want to go to Texas because they're going to pay me $50,000 as an offensive lineman just by dealing with this thing.
150.
Being in this charitable organization. That's all fine and dandy. Or Nick Saban in Alabama is telling me, hey, we're not going to give you $50,000, but we're going to give you a spot and we're going to turn you into a pro. Very young, and you're going to be a high draft pick, extremely high draft pick. So those are still going to be conversations to be had. There's going to be a lot of uncomfortable conversations to be had about this because it's not going to be one of those things where John Harbaugh is telling you, or Jim Harbaugh is telling you, we can give you an NIL deal of $60,000. And Lincoln is in USC saying, we can give you Hollywood and $100,000 job. No, some of these kids, to them, it's still going to matter about being developed for the next level. Because you can go and make $100,000 now, which is great, but in the end, where's the longevity? So you're still going to see a lot of players out there who are worried about the longevity opposed to the latitude route. So I would say that I'm all in favor of the NIL. I just think that it's going to come with some stuff, and it opens up a lot of teams as well to not have to be so shady with their recruiting and all the rest of that. Granted, SEC, the boys going to get down. But you still say that, it's LSU with all the infractions and all the craziness that goes on in that program year in and year out. Are those kids still going to be willing to go to that school knowing what they're about to face when they're not going to be able to play in the playoffs and different things like that? So it's still a lot to think. There's still a lot because this NIL thing, granted, the money is getting bigger. It's still in its infancy period because you really don't know.
It is.
What's going to be the stopping point? When is the NCAA going to come in and try to get some type of control or put some type of limit on it? I know there's limits, there's policies and different things, but at some point they're going to have to get this thing into a bubble and say, okay, let's really figure this out.
I think the NCAA is just trying to stay alive right now. I don't know what they can do because these conferences and these schools, they're too powerful. When you talk about the TV dollars, they can do whatever they want. And people are tired of, these players, all these stuff being under the table and also just not being American. We talk about like name, image, likeness, like that's, we live in I thought we live in a country with free enterprise and whatnot. So more, the more the merrier. The thing that I think is interesting here is the expectations and pressures with the money for these kids. because that's to me where the pressure will be also on the coaches. So if I give you a kid and we're putting, a couple mil behind this kid, does he really have to compete for his job, or is he starting? Because you're going to start to see some of the same politics you see in the NFL when it gets to, well, we used the first round pick on this guy, but the fourth rounder may be outperforming him, but we got to play the first rounder because we invested in the first rounder. I do think you may start seeing some of these things. So these coaches and everybody are going to have to be very careful with their evaluations, who they're putting money. We've already seen some of these NIL deals get shaky. I mean, look at DJ, who's in the Dr. Pepper commercials. You don't think that whoever made that deal feels some type of way right now, right? Or any
That's
other
around
deal that
50
happened
cars.
with the kid and shit just hit the fan. So I do think you're going to see some very interesting things politically happen, because when you talk about this type of money, it's now out in the open. And if somebody doesn't perform or they don't start, I'm just curious to see what the overall ramifications, will be. At the end of the day, it's still about wins and losses for sure. But there's always the game within the game. I just wanted to get y'all's thoughts. Any other thoughts before we wrap? Because I'm good if you guys are.
I'm good, man.
Boomer Sooner.
Always horns up, not that horns down shit.
Brent Venables national championship within 4 years. I'll say that.
I thought you said 2.
No, playoffs within 2. National
Chris said
championship.
2 years.
Grand Slam hires. If you're a Grand Slam hire, you need to win in the same period of time that Bob Stoops won.
Oh,
if
man,
you're a Grand Slam hire. There's nothing higher than Grand Slam.
Maybe 2 Grand Slams in the same game.
Oh man, you guys are crazy.
I mean, Brent's in the same position that Bob was when he showed up. Never had any head coaching experience. So
you guys do well with that. I would say that's a pro. Your last 3 the 2 coaches before that were both coordinators, and they were successful. So that's a pro.
Brent Stack.
See, we can be objective on this show.
Brent Stack with some talent too. He got some good talent to work with, and I think that's going to benefit him a lot.
We can be objective on this show.
It's going to be good.
It's not like he's having to reinvent the wheel. It's just the fact that you got to keep Caleb.
Yeah, you got to keep Caleb. That's
I mean, I'd be sitting here looking like a real fanboy if I said, "Hey, if we could be fine with Dylan Gabriel." You know what
Dylan Gabriel didn't need to catch a stray. That was unnecessary. That was so unnecessary.
I was just saying.
That's messed up, man. Leave the kids out of it.
I just want to make sure that Chris comes on front and center. Just like the first time I ever had you on the channel, and I wanted you to own the Deuce Vaughn stuff. Like, hey, when he breaks y'all off, make sure you own it. I just want to make sure that Chris comes on front and center when BV loses track of some timeouts because he's getting turned on the sideline. And you don't just get upset because he's not fulfilling his head coaching duties because he's too busy being a strength and conditioning coach, acting like Bo Pelini on the sideline. I'm just saying the next time when that happens,
when that feel like Kirby not so smart. That's what Kirby does.
Schmitty back. We got Schmitty back, so you know what that means. Hey, so I'm thinking next year, and we'll talk more about this and we'll work out the details. And you guys can tell me what you want. Here is the bet. When OU beats you guys in the Red River Shootout.
Child, please.
I want to be on every show that you do after every recap video that you guys do after Texas loses. Everyone. I want to be on everyone.
This man is truly obsessed with Texas
football.
Why you want to be on my show? Why you want to be on my show, man?
I want to be on everyone just so I can hear it.
Get your own damn channel. Don't be on my show.
His Longhorn fandom knows no bounds, Nino.
Oh,
that
you
was
crazy.
his bet. His bet was
He won't be on a
after we
Longhorn
leave you,
channel.
I want to continue talking about Texas football.
Yeah.
I
mean,
want to
hey,
trash it. I want to
Steven.
trash it. I want to trash it.
Steven, their hand sign is our sign. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, they don't have any,
I've never seen
it
Chris
is what
or
it
Seth
is.
put the one up or whatever their sign is.
Yeah.
I only
What's
see
you guys'
them put up
sign?
the
I mean,
I've never seen them actually do their
yeah. What is you guys' sign?
I
think
really, it's the number 1.
Is it?
That's our secondary sign. Our primary sign. We're throwing them horns down.
Devo Steak is my sign.
So your primary. Shut up, what? I just caught that shit.
Well done, baby.
Hold
on, did yours just commit to y'all?
Uh-oh. Let me see this player.
Is that true?
I'm checking right now.
If he committed, I'm down to react to it. Is that facts? I know Chris would love to share his thoughts on it.
He just signed his own death certificate if he did.
Is that facts? I haven't gotten any texts.
I don't see anything on it.
Kieran, are you putting fake news on here?
He put fake
Kieran.
news.
Oh no, look at that.
What do you say?
Kieran, come
My
on. My
girlfriend thought it'd be funny. Man, get out of here. Man, I'm getting off, man. I'm getting off, man. That's jacked up. Man, why you do that, kid? Come on, man.
He threw his girl under the bus.
I was like, man, get no damn sleep tonight.
Boy, y'all got Steven excited. Steven said, "Oh God,
why are we getting pranked by our own people?"
I mean,
what the hell is going on?
I love the brother, man. He's the same dude that made that that video.
You need to tell me
Kieran's supposed to be my young homie, man. I'm about to fire that brother, man.
This is
Kieran, you about to get fired, bro.
This is a really good show because Steven and Nick finally got to give us shit for everything that we said to them all year. Because we was all day ass every day. Even got to the point I didn't never think I was gonna be able to come back on the show because the way Steven was. I hit Steven up after one game. I see him I tweeted out that pic of him when he was like looking like this right here. He was like, Chris, I say this respectfully. I don't need your shit today, bro. And I was like,
Chris,
wow.
Chris, let me tell you something, man. You was on my ass so hard one day, man. I text Steve and I said, I'm done with Chris.
Yo, we were about to.
I was like, I'm
Nino's
done with
ready
Chris.
to ghost you, man. He's ready to ghost you, man. It's like, I'm tired of this. This guy's a menace. This guy's a menace to society, man.
Like, I'm done with his ass. I'm done with Chris.
Every time.
Oh my gosh.
Every time.
We got to put Kieran in timeout, man. And his girlfriend.
and his
website.com. Got to kick the bot out. Oh gosh.
Shit. All right, man, I'm going to bed, y'all.
All right, y'all. I appreciate everybody.
I appreciate it.
One more thing.
Jumping
you
on.
can follow us on Twitter at HornsDown55 right now. Put that up.
At what?
HornsDown55.
You have a Twitter handle?
Yes.
I just convinced him, Steven. I just convinced him today. I told him to get a YouTube channel too. He tripping. Put some damn videos up, Chris, with a K.
Podcast going low with y'all, you know what I'm saying?
You guys would be monetized in a day. Just
hey man, look, I don't know who this thing dude is, but you gotta tell him to stop talking about my damn dog. You did. I gotta say.
You guys be monetized in a day. You guys get 1,000 subscribers in a day.
Yo, I might create a burner just for y'all's channel, man.
Oh my god.
The same way Chris did. Chris got like
burner.
6 burners.
I did not create a burner, bro. I'm
You certainly did.
Not me. That's not me. When it comes across my screen, I'm like, bro, who the hell is this?
You know it's Chris. Chris got a burner account.
He definitely
he be you know what? I know Chris be tweeting on my shit. I know it's him because it's only like certain stuff. It's like I know that's Chris talking, all right? But it's underneath. Like I'm gonna go find the dude too, Chris. I know it's your ass. I know it's you.
You would know if it was me because it'd be personal.
Everybody has a friend in their life like Chris. Bro, that hater from afar that always has information as soon as you do. And is already geared up their response, ready to go.
Oh man,
I respect your preparation, brother. It's admirable.
All right, for real, I'm going, yo. Shit.
Shout out to BOSR. Thank you for sponsoring the channel. BSR.com/fanatic. $100 bet, 24 hours. You get it. And y'all subscribe. Go subscribe right now to Nino's Corner. We're about to jump off.
Yeah, please subscribe.
Before you jump off, please do.
I'm almost at
do.
3,000 subscribers, man. I'm like 8 short. So go ahead and make that happen.
Y'all hear that? Let's get them over 3K tonight.
Yeah, come on.
Tonight.
I'm like 8, 9 short, man.
There's 273 in here right now. So
Go
whoever is
Nino's
not subscribed right now to Nino's Corner, go over there. Show our brother some love. Y'all were commenting all night talking about he was bringing that heat. Go show him some love. That's how you show somebody some love if you said they were bringing heat. So
receipts.
He lit it up in the chat today. Seth, Chris, Nino, thank you guys. Remember, horns always up.
Horns up. Damn.
We out of here, baby.
Whew. That was fun, y'all.
Sorry for the marathon, guys, but that was fun.
That shit was fun.
Yeah, it was good, though. It was good.
That was fun.
Man, we always had a lot of fun in this shit.
I'm in a better mood now than the last time I was on the show.
Soft. Lincoln Riley,
like, I feel so much better.
Lincoln Riley, I'm going to tell you, you're soft.
Such a better place.
If I saw you on the street, I would kick. No. Chris said he was spitting his face. I'm like, damn, Chris. I played that shit for my wife. She was like, what? Motherfucker said he's going to spit in his face?
Oh, yeah, that wasn't a good weekend for me.
My wife said, he knows the game, right? I said, yeah, baby. You know, like I said, you know.
All right.